This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Oh, fiddlesticks! What, Wilbur? We just got hit and I think my back has all been out of shape.
You gotta talk with those whippersnappers at the Advocates Law Firm. They're the best injury lawyers around.
What? Pipe down, Clarence! Abner's telling me about the lawyers and the advocates. So what happened to you, Abner?
I was walking across the street with the light when some young punk came screeching around the corner. I lost a toe.
What? Shut it, Clarence! If you get injured, the advocates get results.
AdvocatesLaw.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
We return to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Bronson Teagle. He was in a secluded area of Ontario's Grand Bend South Beach last weekend with his wife, 2 daughters. They were enjoying their last day of vacation. Then he noticed a young girl in the water, waving her arms in distress. After looking around for any lifeguards, Teagle ran over to check on the girl. I saw not one person, but a family of 4, all drowning simultaneously. The family was enjoying the water when a strong current made them lose their balance, and they could not get to shore. Teagle said that when he got closer, he saw a woman lying face down in the water and a man and 2 children struggling to stay afloat. To see all 4 people all going under at the same time was very shocking to me. Teagle is 36 years old. He is a London, Ontario firefighter in training, and he said he was just grateful that he was at the right place at the right time to rescue the family. Teagle then ran into the water, first tried to save the young girl. She was struggling to breathe. Then he noticed the man and the other child, a young boy, who were also struggling to stay above water and were all fully clothed. After he was able to successfully get the 3 of them safely to shore, Teagle said it was a difficult fight saving the woman. She was unconscious at this time and laying face down in the water. Then a man on a jet ski noticed what was going on. He came to help Teagle pull the woman out of the water. I'm fighting the current. I'm fighting the riptide. I don't know how I was able to reach them in time with that current and those waves. Well, worried about potentially breaking the woman's ribs by performing CPR, Teagle said he sat her up, gave her 5 back blows, which allowed her to cough up enough water to finally breathe, and then paramedics arrived a short time later. Family has kept in touch with Teagle and thanked him for saving all 4 of them. He saved an entire family who were all drowning at the same time. Our question, when were you in the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time? 206-421-ROCK.
Good to know. Hello, Spooner. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hey, guys.
Hola.
Hola. So, like 10 years ago, I was on my way home with my ex-wife, and I noticed a flickering under a car in our apartment complex. Stopped, looked, and there was a fire under the car. I pulled down in behind the car. By this time, the whole front end of the car is up in flames. A woman opened the passenger door, stepped out for a second, got back in the car. And there's a bunch of people standing around not doing anything. So I park our car, jump out, tell somebody to call the fire department, and I go to pull the woman out of the car, and the flames are through the firewall, and her feet are about to catch on fire. I drag her out of the car, hand her off to my ex-wife, and she says, my baby's in the car.
Oh, God.
So I go back, and I can't see anything. The whole car's engulfed in flames, and I can't find a baby. So I go back to her. I said, are you sure your baby's in the car? She said, yeah, my baby's in the back seat. So I go back to the car, and I still can't find a baby. And I left the car again, and a guy comes out, what happened to my car? I said, your car's on fire. Where's the baby? The baby's inside. So baby was safe. She was safe. Car burnt to the ground.
Do you think she was that messed up that she just didn't know where she was?
Yeah, she was completely plastered.
I was going to say, I mean, if the car's on fire, she gets out. She had to notice the entire front of the car was on fire, and then she gets back into the car.
But if she thinks her kid's in the car, then I understand why he got back in the car. Maybe not to sit down, but At least look for your kid. You said when you got there, you pull up and you had to yell to someone to call the fire department. Did it seem weird to you that you had to ask people to call the fire department when they're standing there staring at a car that is on fire?
It was absurd.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
people were taking cell phone videos.
Of course. Right. That's always the first order of business, right?
Well, you saw when that kid got hit by a car downtown.
Oh, the skateboarder, yeah.
Yeah, the people are just standing around. They're like, did anyone call 911? Did anyone call to say anything?
I didn't see him get hit. I literally turned the corner, and he's laying there in the middle of the street, and then there's a bunch of people across the street running their business stuff, and they're all looking at him. And this kid, he's not completely bloodied, but bloodied enough where you understand. Like, obviously, he was hit by a vehicle, and so they're all looking at him, and he's like, yeah, I just got hit by a car. He also asked for a cigarette, but he mentioned that he got hit by a car. So I'm like, hey, could somebody, I don't know, call 911? Like, you just watched this happen, and then they're telling me what happened. I'm like, right, I get it. You saw it happen, and not one of you, it's probably about 12 people total, none of you, not one of you thought, hey, maybe we should call 911 because this bloodied, probably 16 to 18-year-old kid is laid the F out in the middle of a busy downtown street. You don't need to stare at him. I'm like, are you kidding me? No one was videotaping it, to their credit, if we can even call that a heroic move now. But, like, you all have cell phones. Every single one of you has a cell phone, and not one of you.
And the kid was, and then you said the kid was basically in shock. I mean, just from the adrenaline.
He was, right. He didn't, I don't think the magnitude of what happened was really hitting him yet. I think it's one of those things, you're glad to be alive. You're not in the pain that you're going to be 24 hours from now. So he was coherent. But it's like, Jesus Christ, the kid's bloody, laying in the middle of the street. And you guys all watched it happen. And not one of you thought to call 911. But in his case, like, the car's on fire because you're standing here watching it.
And you
call the fire department.
And where it happened, you know where you work. You know the youth center is right next door.
Oh, yeah.
You knew where this kid was coming from.
I can guess where he's coming from, but Jesus.
And I get, like, it's always, like, even I grew up with it, right? Like, that's that kind of famous line, like, fight or flight.
Sure.
But it's not really true. Like, freeze is a massive part of it. But with that said, it's like, right, but like, you don't have to jump into action. You couldn't call 911.
I mean, that's the
like I get
easiest
people
thing to do.
freezing, not jumping into action, but I'm like, calling 911 is pretty easy on your phone.
I mean, back in the day, man, before there were cell phones, you had to find a pay phone to call 911.
Sure.
Yeah.
But people would still do it.
But someone jumping out just into the road in case a car was on the
Something.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, man, are you okay? Like somebody just coming up to check on the kid.
I think the only thing where, universally anyway, I see people spring into action is if it involves a kid who's like 4 years old or younger. If they're about to walk out in the middle of the highway or something, you'll see 1,000 people rush out there to say it. But after that, like, once you're a young adult, like, you get struck by lightning. Like, boy, that sucks for you.
Free for all.
I feel like I saved a child last week.
Really?
Oh, yeah, how?
Well, I was walking home from the grocery store.
All right.
We had a Sprinter. I turned around and I don't know, the parents just kind of looked the other way for a second.
That's all it takes.
Kid was sprinting. She had to be about 20 yards from her parents. So I just put my grocery bag out to stop her.
Did she stop?
Yeah. I was like, because she was going, I'm so fast. And I was like, hang on. And like, there was another lady coming and she was like, yeah. So we just kind of stood there for a second. The parents were like, thanks. I was like, Jesus.
Was she fast?
And as far as small 4-year-olds go,
Yeah.
I mean, she seemed quick.
Did you tell the coach? She said, you got potential.
No, honestly, it was just me and an older lady that both saw. We were just dying laughing.
You know what that is? That's
But it's
new
also-
shoes.
Right, it's also my neighbor. Right, I know.
You get new shoes, you're faster. I know.
That's like the famous thing. Every time that sucks about being an adult, you get new shoes. Somebody asks you how fast you can run.
I know, yeah.
But I used the bag too. I felt like that was better.
Well, the way she hit it, be a little bit funny.
I'm so fast.
By the way, somebody here says bystander syndrome.
Oh,
It's
okay.
actually a thing, right?
Yeah.
So people, I get it. And again, this is not necessarily a call to action beyond pulling out your phone and just dialing 911 and saying, I'm happy to say it's not me, but somebody got effed up.
When were you in the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Alicia. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola. How are you guys?
How are you, Alicia?
Hanging in there. Just dropped my daughter off at her first driving lesson, so we'll see how that goes.
Her first what?
Her first driving lesson.
Oh, I thought you said dragon lesson. I'm like, what the hell is
No,
this?
driving.
Does this mean you're going to have to start taking her to the parking lots in the next coming weeks?
Yes.
right.
Oh, dear God, yes.
That's exciting.
So let me set the stage for you a little bit. I was working in Nashville at a CD replicator, and we have a bunch of recording studios in the building, so it's a brick building, it's pretty stout. Well, we're all standing outside, having a smoke break, and it's looking like a big storm is coming. So I'm just kind of chilling, looking out up at the sky, and I'm like, dude, it's like fluorescent green, underneath the cloud cover. And one of the other guys looks up, and he's stoned out of his mind. I mean, he's working in the studio. They're all baked. And he's like, oh, man, I think that's a tornado. And I said, what? Well, it's kind of on the edge of there's a school down the street. And this is in 1997 when the Romanians were refugees in our country. Well, we had a whole bunch of them living up the street from us. So these ladies and a stream of their kids are all walking up the street. And there's this roar like a train, like right on top of you. And the guys start running inside. And I'm like, but what about the kids? So I'm screaming at these ladies to come in the building, and I'm waving my hands on trying to get them to understand me. Well, they only speak Romanian, and they don't. They look at me like I'm a crazy woman. So I run out in the street and grab one of the kids and rush into the building, and they're following me, screaming at me, and everyone starts pulling them into the building. Well, this tornado touched down like a block from us, and it was so powerful. It went like for miles through downtown Nashville and all the way up to the Hermitage. It was just crazy.
How far would the Hermitage be from downtown?
About 6 miles.
Jeez.
I mean, the world's a big place, but I mean, to be honest with you, North America predominantly gets all the tornadoes.
Yeah, it's tornado capital.
So anywhere else, you might see a water spout someplace or whatever, but for the most part, if you're from anywhere else in the world, you've heard of a tornado. Yeah. You just, you know what I mean?
I've heard of a lion, right? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Did you say that's how the thunder rolls? That's right with the Garth Brooks era. The thunder rolls.
Yes, it was a Garth Brooks era, and it was crazy. I've never heard or seen anything like it in my life, and I hope to God I never do again.
When you moved, how long have you been in Seattle?
Let me see. We've been here since 2007.
Okay.
We actually live in Silverdale. My husband's a submariner.
All right. How many pairs of cowboy boots do you still own?
One.
Okay.
I got but it's only because it had tassels on it.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And
you can't get rid of cowboy boots with tassels.
No, sir. Have you worn them since you've been here?
Well, once, but it was Halloween.
Okay, all right.
So,
think about that. Think about that.
Show?
For how regular people dress in Nashville, that's what you whip out for Halloween
here, right?
Think about that for a minute.
So you get these Romanian kids, like you said, only speak Romanian. That's what drives me crazy about Romanians. Speaking all that Romanian.
But they speak Russian.
But you get them in the building, and now, what is the next move? Like, where do you hunker down when there's an actual tornado going on?
Well, like I said, it was studios. So we had this huge steel door that we were able to shut and bolt behind us. So we were able to look out these little, those little tiny windows that have the wires through them. And we were able to see crap flying by and the hail hit. And I mean, the hail started hitting right after we got the kids inside. It was we got sodas out of the soda machine and started passing them around.
Nice.
And just kind of trying to calm them down and pointing out the window, showing the ladies the storm.
Shouldn't you
so they
not
didn't
be looking
understand
out
what
windows?
Freaks we were.
Shouldn't you not be looking out the window during a tornado? Like, that's kind of as intriguing as it is, I just feel like I'm not looking out the window right now, man.
No. But they got it. They figured out why you pulled everybody in.
Yeah, they figured out why and got lots of hugs, and the guys all got lots of hugs. I was the only girl that worked there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet all the guys wanted to hug you.
We're going to have to hug it out.
Did the Romanians request to be relocated somewhere other than Nashville?
Well, after that, I bet they put in some papers.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man.
I would have.
A tornado, I've never been around an earthquake, you know what I mean? But if it happens, I have some comprehension of what's going to happen. I've never been near an active volcano that blew its top. Not much you can do, right? All the hurricanes, etc. But a tornado, especially when it's that close to you, that's the one. If you're from anywhere else and you experience a tornado, to be like, look, I don't know anything about the U.S., I got to go.
Yeah.
I cannot be in a place where this happens.
And they're showing up in a lot of places you never saw them before.
I did not see because there was a hurricane coming through, but there was a tornado in my neighbor's backyard.
During the hurricane.
They just ripped down a row of trees. And these were big, tall oak trees. Thank God they didn't fall on his house. Thank God. But then the thing just made a turn and took off the other direction, which was cool. But it wasn't too far before that. I was on the air, and I was working in the afternoon at this point at a classic rock station. And this guy calls me up, and he's like, hey, man. He's like, I'm in College Park. You got to tell people, man, there's this huge tornado. It just went right by me.
Did you believe him?
And I'm like, what do you, because College Park is Washington, D.C.
Yeah, essentially.
And I realized,
where I grew up.
And I realized there's no tall buildings there and everything else. But at the same point in time, I'm like,
but there's no tornadoes.
There's not a tornado in College Park, Maryland. I was like, I'm not going on the air and telling people that. I'm looking at the EAS thing. I'm like, there's no tornado. It's a little bit dark outside. There's thunder showers. There's no damn way. That thing killed like 3 or 4 people.
It picked up a car, and the biggest buildings in College Park are on the university. And sadly, it picked up a car that had 2 girls in it and slammed it into the side of a building.
I remember that.
Like a student housing, right? And they died. They died right there.
Miles could have told people.
I know that. That's what I thought. Look, you know what I mean? He was just like, please tell people there's a tornado. I'm like, I just can't go on the air and create panic until I have verification. He's like, I'm telling you right now, there's a tornado in College Park. I'm like, I believe you, man. I got to keep looking at this EAS thing because this is supposed to send the weather updates, and I'm getting nothing. I'm getting nothing.
That thing is useless.
Literally, Bernie went to Frostburg, which is in Western Maryland.
Yeah.
His freshman year, they have some class, science or something, and the professor says, something like, I would bet you any amount of money, you will never see a tornado here. And a year later, a tornado hit there, and the one you're talking about in College Park.
And now it's pretty common.
When were you?
Sadly, yeah.
When were you in the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time? 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Well, great balls of fire, Bubba. What happened, Bilford? That crazy son of a Sal blew right through that four-way stop on Main Street and plowed into my cowboy Cadillac.
Your what?
My pickup truck. And I'm pretty sure my leg is broken, Ted.
Oh, quit your bitching, Buford, and talk with those side busters at the Advocates Law Firm. When I got busted up last month, well, shoot, they made sure those snakes at the insurance company played fair.
Boy, howdy. Even that creepy so-and-so Kyle earned his keep.
So if you get injured, the advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's. All things summer, all at the right price.
99.9 KISW. The men's room is in progress.
Coming up, the return of Who Sucks Less right after emails on our question. When were you in the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Chris. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
I'm commuting.
What happened, Chris?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So I was about 26 years old, and I was playing music during the scene in Seattle, and I had ran into Peter Cornell a couple times, and we'd become friends. Anyways, that's the brother of Chris Cornell. And so I was working at my dad's yard, and I thought, you know what? I didn't get tickets. So I realized that, man, I'm blowing this. This is just up the street from where I grew up. So I jumped in the truck, headed out, grabbed an orange Grundon jacket, went up to Silverdale to the fairgrounds where they're having Lollapalooza in 1992. And I called my friend, talked to him before I'd left, told him I was going to do this, asked him if I could park, because I knew there wouldn't be any parking. So he said I could park at his dad's house. So I parked at his dad's house, crossing the street, and Peter Cornell's in his car, and as I'm crossing the street, there's just miles of cars lined up trying to get into Lollapalooza. So he honks his horn, points at me. He says, "Hey, Chris." And I go, "Hey, Peter." And he says, "Where are you parked?" I go, "Just right over here." And he goes, "Can I park there?" And I said, "I don't think they'll mind." So he parked. And then we went for a walk. We were heading down towards the Lollapalooza. And as we got down there, I said, "Hey, man, I'm going to go jump the fence. I'll see you." Because that was my plan all along. I was just going to jump the fence. Anyways, I was young. So then as I'm walking, he says, "Hey, Chris, come with me." And he goes, "Will call." And he goes, "Two for will call." So we went in, we went backstage, and I'm back there with all the musicians from Lollapalooza 92. I'm just kind of in awe at this point. And I sit down and go ahead.
Say, are you playing it cool, or is it obvious that you're wowed by all these cats walking around?
I'm pretty relaxed because it's Peter, but yeah, inside my head, I'm probably as a 26-year-old and still a little starstruck at times. Yeah, I was pretty excited, and but a little more overwhelmed. I'd never met Peter's brother Chris, and so I sat right next to him, and we were just hanging out, and they were all eating, and I can't even remember if I had anything to eat. We just started talking about tour over in Europe and stuff like that, and then they started talking about wanting to go check out the Jim Rose Circus Sideshow, and so him and Peter, myself, were talking about it, and how we couldn't do that. We would, he couldn't go out there and stand in that crowd. It was like on a B stage or off to side stage. So then I had that orange Grundon jacket. It's so ridiculous, but it's awesome at the same time. The idea was, hey, put this on, and like an orange beacon of light, right? So Chris puts it on, pulls over the hood. We all go out. We head over to the tent, and we're hanging out watching the Jim Rose Circus Sideshow, and of course everything's hanging off these guys with whipped cream and hooks, and we're standing there. These two girls are standing in front of us, and they kind of look in, and it's kind of funny because Peter looks like Chris. So the whole plan, the orange rain jacket, Peter, and then Chris sitting there with his hood over his head, and this crowd, and these girls come around. They're like, it was that total like look that Dave Grohl, in that one video where he's looking at himself with and licking his teeth.
Yeah.
And these girls turn around, they're just like, "We love you," kind of thing. And I'm like, oh my God, this is really happening. And all of a sudden, all the heads were turning away from the Jim Rose Circus Sideshow that were just kind of around us. People started knowing it was Chris. So from Soundgarden. So then he goes, "I got to go." So he takes off, and Peter turns around and he says, "Hey, do you think Peter might autograph, or Chris might autograph my jacket?" And He goes, yeah, I'll ask him. And so he took off. And so they went, because they were going on stage next. So I walked out, getting ready to watch Soundgarden. As I'm walking down, I was in pretty good shape. So I was like, man, I'm just going to get down there right up front and check it all out. And so I ran down, and when I got down there, I was like right up front. And I knew Ben he was younger than I was, and when we were in high school, but he was about 4 years younger than I was. And so I didn't get a chance to really talk with him, but I did see him walk into the tent when we were hanging out. But anyhow, I get down there, and I look up, and here Chris Cornell comes jumping out with this Grennan orange jacket on. And so it was kind of cool. It was like,
well, did you ever get your jacket back?
Right, I did. When I got back, I had an old 1962 Ford Falcon Club wagon, and I got back to the house, my friend Dale's dad's house, and I walked up, opened up the back of the truck. I didn't think there would probably be anything there, but I opened up the truck, and there it was.
Damn!
And or the van, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. And he wrote, thanks for the co-rental, brother. And then Chris Cornell's signature. And so yeah, it was really cool. It was a fun day. You know, I'm scraping barnacles at a boatyard one minute, and then I go, dude, what am I doing? I need to go to this thing. But I didn't have a lot of money then. You know, I was young. And
yeah, I get it, man. Yeah. We were 26 once. Right. Didn't have a lot of money. Very long story, but I'm happy for him.
I am too. I'm glad I got to see Lollapalooza.
Was he commuting on foot?
What do you mean?
Just the way, like, he was talking, because he said he was commuting when he first started.
Yeah, he sounded a little breathless.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was like, I think he's walking.
He lost his van. Are you in the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time? 206-421-ROCK.
I should have asked him, because I do it all the time to people when I'm walking. I call people. You know.
No, you shouldn't have. No, you should not have asked him. I know you're headed. I'm just saying, no. It's situational.
Say, fella, you on foot?
Hello, Isaiah. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola. First time caller, long time listener.
Well, welcome to the show.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. So, my girlfriend and I, we went to the Mariners game on Friday. And we like to go and hang out at the pen before the game starts, watch some batting practice and stuff. You know, sometimes you're lucky enough to catch a ball. So I'm right up front. I'm leaning up against the bar. My girlfriend's kind of standing off to the side behind me. And I see a ball coming our way, and I'm kind of watching it. And then I lose it for just half a second. It was just a blur. And I hear this bang, and I look down, and someone's beer had spilled all over the bar in front of me and was getting on my jersey. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, I have beer all over me. And it's a brand-new jersey. I love this thing. And so I turn around, and my girlfriend's, like, running off, and I'm like, she's getting me napkins. Well, she was kind of going off a little too fast, so I ran after her, and it turns out the ball had come, bounced off the bar, and hit her in the face.
And here you are like, I got beer on my jersey.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, what a great girlfriend. She's getting me napkins. She loves me so much.
Was her face busted open, or did it just hurt?
No, it just hurt. So because it hit the bar first, it like ricocheted off, and it definitely caused a little bruise under her chin, but we got her checked out by the paramedics there, and you know, they did the whole jaw checking thing, and nothing was broken. She was a little, upset because, it hurts getting hit by a ball. And then we lost that ball. It just disappeared, basically.
She didn't even get the ball to hit her in the face?
No, we didn't. But when we told the usher that, hey, my girlfriend got hit in the face with a ball, they gave us a replacement ball, a bottle of water, and then, 2 baseball cards. So,
man, I'm going to try that. Next time I go to a baseball game, I'm like, hey, baby, just hold your face. Right. Hey, man, my wife just got hit in the face. What can I get for this?
He punched me.
Yeah, exactly. Just make sure she's crying a lot, too, though.
All right.
Oh, that'll be easy. I'll just have her watch one of her shows. What is it, We Be This? What the hell is it called? Baby, just watch that final episode of We Be This. Yeah, this is us. That way, the waterworks are going on.
This is crying.
That'd be us. When were you in the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Christian. Welcome to the men's room.
Buongiorno.
Hola.
So, circa 2014 Afghanistan. Friend and I are at the little homemade gym. It's nighttime. We hear a couple explosions go off. Like, oh, crap, man, send me the Taliban. He's a little rowdy tonight. So we go outside, and we look outside, and we can see behind the light that there's a broken helicopter. It's like, looks just like the movies. You see the blades, bobbins, and then we're like, oh, shoot. So we go inside, yell at my office, like one of the officers, like, hey, sir, a helicopter crashed, call up Crash Fire Rescue, which are, firefighters in the military. And then he kind of has that, like, dumbfounded look. I'm like, no, sir, like, effing call them right now. That was, like, one time I got to swear at an officer. It's pretty cool. So, finally, we start running out there, and, like, I'm out of breath. Everybody's out of breath. We're getting there. Like, the wreckage is really bad. Like, the helicopter is in half. Like, there are parts, pieces, like, a couple of the guns were on the ground, too, just scattered in disarray. And fortunately, none of the crew got hurt, but one guy got, like, catapulted out. And fortunately, the crew chiefs have to wear these harnesses around them. But he, like, got ricocheted, in and out, boom. But, yeah, no, so fortunately, like, a bunch of us went over there and made sure everybody was okay. Came back and got, like, yelled at by one of my higher-ups, being like, oh, man, there could have been a friggin' fire out there. And we're like, well, it's nighttime, so we would have seen the fire. And, a human can bleed out within a matter of seconds, so might as well go out there before everybody else does.
Well, hell yeah.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
Does it snap basically where the tail connects to the body?
Yeah, so,
okay.
I mean, it's one of, like, the more, stressful points in the helicopter itself.
Yeah, no, I was just hoping that was the case, not like it snapped somewhere else.
Oh, no. No. So what actually happened was, you know how you go up a hill and, you see your fuel gauge go down?
Sure.
You're like, oh, crap. Well, in a helicopter, you need a certain amount of fuel when coming in because of the angle, because the pump's at the front. Now, the engines blew out. So that was what the explosions were. It was the boom, boom, boom with all the engines going out. And then possibly, it hit the ground. But yeah, no, like, so we went out there, made sure everybody was good. That pilot definitely got in trouble big time.
What did he do wrong?
And it was, like I said, man, he came in with too little fuel at a steep angle, flying in.
So basically, he just dry ran the fuel line.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
So it sucked air into the fuel line,
right, yeah.
and causing like a misfire. So when a car
man.
misfires, you pull off to the side of the road.
Look,
a helicopter does. You've seen at the crash.
Nobody wants to get in trouble, right? Like, that's nobody's goal. But if I'm getting in trouble because I've survived something that otherwise might be fatal, like, I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. You can scream your head off like you want. Like, yeah, I'm not dead, brother. Keep yelling. It's all good.
When were you in the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Ryan. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So this was about 5 or 6 years ago. I was the night manager of a smoke shop in Tacoma, and out of nowhere, I seen a person walking towards the cars that I was helping, and then I seen the car behind the one I was helping. I seen the passenger jump out, and they both exchanged gunfire and then ran. And my employee, it was kind of funny. He ducked all the way down, crawled on his hands and knees to his phone, then crawled all the way back to the window and started recording it. And, come to find out that they had shot the homeless guy way over in this other direction somehow. And so I ran out of the store and ran to him, put my hand on his wound, called an ambulance. Well, a group of about a dozen people showed up behind me, and none of them offered to help until the ambulance had showed up itself. And
then everyone's heroic.
How did you find out if the guy made it or not?
Yeah, about 6 months later, he came and thanked me for saving his life.
That is did you even recognize the guy at that point?
I did. I mean, he kind of looked the same, just a little bit longer beard.
Okay.
Okay. Right. You just wouldn't know if I'd recognize, like, saved you. Who the hell are you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When were you in the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time? 206-421-ROCK. You know, you held my bullet wound.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
bullet guy.
Vaguely remember that.
First time shot at, last time hopefully shot at.
Hello, Steven. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores. All right, here we go. I forget what year. It was right before my second deployment. I'm on Fort Lewis or JBLM, and I'm taking one of my soldiers back from an appointment that he had at Madigan. Well, I see this, those giant dump trucks that are like, the tires are like 6 feet tall type of dump truck.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, it turns. It's coming my direction, but it turns down the street at the stoplight that I'm at. Well, as I get to go, I'm about the sixth car back, and everybody drives ahead. Well, as I get up to the light, I see this bike rider flailing on the ground, and I look and see, and her leg is mangled. She was just run over by that dump truck.
Oh, my God.
Damn.
So I get out, and I'm screaming at two other guys to start control the bleeding, and I yelled at another guy to go chase down the dump truck because he had no idea that he just ran over a bicyclist. So I'm doing everything I can, and I start providing manual pressure right into, there's the femoral artery right on that leg, right in the leg right there. And you press down as hard as you can with your knee. You really jam your knee right in there to stop that bleeding. So as we're controlling the bleeding, now I'm starting to treat her for shock, and I'm trying to get everything to her to talk about that's not focused on the leg.
Whatever you do,
So
don't think about your leg.
Don't look down.
Don't look at it, because you just freak the hell out.
Yeah.
And I knew she had a good attitude because I told her almost those words, and she's like, I already looked.
Good dot.
So I'm trying to help. I'm trying to keep composure. By this time, I mean, minutes has passed. The ambulance is there. Everybody's there, but I'm the one who has to be there with it. She won't respond to anybody. I mean, she's in full-blown shock right now. Well, then, and through all this, you find out she has no family here. She has, like, one son who's, like, 4 hours away or something. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the hospital with you. So I go with the hospital and all this, and then I never heard anything about it. Well, unbeknownst to me, I get to my unit. I'm like, oh, it was this accident, nothing crazy, no biggie. I went and changed, showered, and went about my day. And then a few months pass, and I get some emails from attorneys saying that I need to be deposed, or I need to give my statement on what happened because it's some major lawsuit. And that's why nobody had contacted me. So at first I'm like, oh, great, this person just wants money. That's what they... But it wasn't. They weren't allowed to contact. And next thing you know, I literally got like thousands of emails saying that I'm like a hero to that woman, and I know her today, and we're friends, and yeah, she's truly an amazing person.
Hey,
and I'm super happy that I was in the right place.
Do her a favor, let her know that your training made all the difference. Because if I were in your situation, I'd run up and be like, lady, I got bad news. I think you're going to die.
How bad was obviously her leg was in bad shape, but was she able to keep her leg?
Yeah, she was able to keep her leg. The sad part is that she was an avid cyclist and runner. She would cycle and run upwards of 100 miles a week.
Jesus.
And she can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's really sad.
We work in downtown, and there's bicyclists everywhere. I mean, they are all over the roads, all the time. But I swear to you, the place that I've seen the most cyclists is between Stillicum and JBLM and toward DuPont. And there's those two little windy roads down through there, and they are everywhere. It's like people take like long distance rides, I guess, through there.
All right.
But they're all over the road. You're absolutely right. And there's not a lot of room for them. So I can see exactly how that would go down if you're anywhere near there, because there's cyclists everywhere.
And some of those giant dump trucks are just so big.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about the biggest of the big ones.
Right. And it's like, like with all the construction projects in the city, you see them cruising around. I mean, they can't help it, but they're always hitting curves and stuff. Those things scare the crap out.
Every once in a while in downtown Seattle, you see someone on a bike, as Miles pointed out, where they actually have to pedal to make it go
right,
forward.
Exactly. They have to power the bicycle. Also, those dump trucks that have the big, like kind of bar in between them.
That's what I'm talking about.
Those are dangerous as well, because it's like a double dump truck. And when they take turns, they can't see that back inside either.
Well, in my neighborhood now, there's so many people on those motorized scooters.
God almighty.
I got to look both ways before I walk out to the sidewalk.
When were you in the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time? We've got your emails coming up next in the men's room at KISW.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's, all things summer, all at the right price.